We are back with another YouTube video, and today we are covering Neverness to Everness. I want to give a big shout out to the devs as picking me as one of the 20 people to be in their early access. What I'm going to tackle today is going to be my first official guide, which is going to be on the combat and really just how the gearing system works and the overall basics of the combat. So let's get right into it, boys. I'm not going to lie to you. I am having fun. We'll make a different video with first impressions, whatnot, etc., etc. But right now, I really want to hone in on the basic stuff. So off the bat, even though the game is in Chinese, the UI is very, very, very noticeable. Nothing too crazy here. You can really see things on this. You go to your shop, your book bag, your party, etc. How does this game work? Well, there is a party of 4 system, as we've seen in the previous things. Nothing too crazy here. You attack, swap in between characters. Every character has their basic attack chain, of course. There is a double jump, which is very nice. You do get 3 dashes. Now, you cannot dash in the air. When you try to dash in the air, you get your little glider. So you see that little blue mark. Bam, I used a dash. It's gone. Now this one. And so that is pretty much how you're going to move. It is unlimited sprint, so as long as you're holding that button, you're going to be sprinting. You just run out of dashes. But again, they recover. Over here is your HP, and then, of course, every character has their skill, and then every character also has their own burst. You hit Q, bam. And then they just burst and they do damage. Now, some characters, you're going to see the G icon next to them. You can kind of hold down and just shoot with them. I've noticed to be mainly for people who are not sword users. So, for example, these 2 units on my account, they do not use swords. Homie pulls out a legitimate cane and starts smacking you with it. He can do it as well. We love to see it. Pretty much basic stuff there. You know, nothing very similar to Genshin or even Wuwa in that sense, right? Nothing too crazy there. So now, there is 6 elements in this game, and the elements are actually very important. Unlike other gacha games, what this element system does is it's not a one-to-one to Genshin's elemental reaction system, but it's very interesting, and I'm actually a pretty big fan of it. So let's go over this real quick. There are these 6 elements, right? What happens is, if you click this little middle icon, it is going to break down all of the elemental reactions. So I think right now, in a grand total, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 different types of elemental reactions at the moment. But the great thing about the elemental reaction system is there are sub-elemental reactions that can be done. What do I mean by this? So I'm going to translate this for you real quick. We are going to use Bloom as the pretty much catalyst of all the examples for today, right? So Bloom says, after the power ring is triggered, a Genesis plant will be born near the character and 5 Genesis flowers will bloom. Now, I will explain how you trigger a reaction in a moment, and I will show you later in game exactly how a Bloom reaction works. But so this is the base reaction for Bloom. Now, to trigger a reaction, what you do is there is a little bar. There's a little circle next to all of your characters, right to their names, right? If you play Withering Waves, I will consider this as your Concerto energy. I don't know the real name of it as of yet, but let's say this is your Concerto energy, and you can activate an outro for the character on field to intro with a new character. So right now, I'm on Mint, right? I'm on the character Mint. And so if I max out their Concerto energy and I swap into the main character, I will be activating a Bloom, because that is the arrow component to the light component. Now, if I'm on Mint, and it will not let me, obviously you could switch out to this other arrow character at any point, but if I switch from arrow to arrow, there will be no elemental reaction, right? So you have to match the elements when you have your Concerto energy fully up in order to do this properly. So, bringing back to that screenshot, referencing to the screenshot, each character is going to get 2 additional points that they can add to the reaction system. So as opposed to just having 8 reactions, eventually, as time goes on and the game continues to come out, this will always keep the elemental system pretty spicy, in the sense of where that there will always be something new to do and different types of effects you could do to the elemental reaction system to make it fun, as opposed to just, let's say, hyper blooming something to death, right? So with the main character, Bloom Enhance each genius flower, which is a little plant that you put, you know, it's a little plant, and then there's these 5 little flowers that go on top of it, will split into 2 and fly towards the targets within range and explode. Now, the main character seems to only have 1 at the moment, but these limited characters, Mint and Nanulli, if you look into Nanulli, it says Blossom Enhancement generates an additional generation plant, so you get a whole extra plant, and upper the limit of generation plants that can exist on field to 6. That's pretty, and you're going to see in a moment. And then they also says, creation strain can continuously absorb nearby enemies. Now, again, everything is super new. I'm about 10 hours into the game. We don't have everything figured out as of yet. She's really yapping in my ear. It's kind of so we don't have everything figured out as of yet, but we do know, again, each character is going to bring something new. So mint, each creation plant can produce 5 additional creation flowers, and the attack frequencies increase by 100%, so on and so forth. So you can use these characters when you are matching it up with the correct source to make your bloom even stronger. So again, as I've said, there are multiple reactions, and as time goes on, when we get more characters, we will be able to do more. So it's pretty cool. It's interesting that it's tied to the outro skill, as opposed to just, you know, using your normal skill or burst or whatever the case may be to actually, you know, start a reaction. So I think this is a very fair system, and it's actually pretty fun. So let's go into combat. I will show you, and then I'll break down the gear. So I'm just going to go to an artifact domain. Sidebar, the transitions in these domains are absolutely beautiful. All right, so we go to this artifact domain. I'm going to go in. I actually have some resin to use, so we'll use that. I'll get some level up books. I don't know if I mentioned this earlier. One thing with the burst is obviously your normal skill. If I went in here and did my skill is now going to be on a cooldown. Now, she's able to roam around and kind of just suck people up with this, which is pretty sick. But if you see, when I do a normal attack, it brings up my burst meter. I do that normal attack, brings up my burst meter. And so you get your burst energy back from skills, from, you know, attacking. I think you might be able to get it from dodging. Don't quote me on that. But so now I have my burst up. I'm going to burst. And now, as you can see, my bar here is only half full. So even with a burst and 2 skills, I need to do a little bit more to trigger an elemental reaction. So it's not 100% like the easiest thing. And also there is perfect dodges, which I will get into in a moment. I will show you that later. As well as the little HPs, you know, the little things under the HP, excuse me. Okay, so I have that. I have my Concerto energy. I'm going to swap into 1. Now that I swapped in, you have 2 flowers on the floor, and bam. They're going out aggressively, and they're going out fast, as opposed to what it would be from earlier in the game, what you've seen in the earlier beta footage, right? So they're coming out hot and heavy. I'm now going to get my Concerto energy with her. I'm going to swap to 3. And I will now have more flowers on the floor. Similar stuff. So I'm triggering these reactions. Right, so now let's get into perfect dodging. So they don't have parrying, but I can lock onto the enemy and it's perfect dodge. So the ping's a little crazy, so I might mess up because I'm not good. So you dodge, and then when you do a perfect dodge, their stun meter, that little white meter, goes up a lot faster. So I'm going to do a perfect dodge again. I missed my hit. But as you can see, it goes up a little bit faster. So I do another one, and that stun meter is going up substantially faster as opposed to me just attacking. So perfect dodging does the slowing down time, but it also allows you to stun them a lot faster. Now, obviously, what's going to happen when they get stunned? Weave. Oh, he's washed. Oh, he's washed. Okay, wait. Hit me, please. Hit me. I do my skill. Now they are down. They took a big chunk of health. They're vulnerable, and then you attack them. You do more damage, right? So that is pretty much like the basics of combat, you know? Enemies are going to have that little shield underneath them, and you pretty much have to break that shield or get that bar full. Once they're stunned, you do a little bit more damage to them, and then they are vulnerable, right? It's the same thing with bosses, and you can see the reactions. So it's pretty basic, but it's very smooth. It is very, very, very smooth. Also, the resin cost is 30. I think right now the max is 180. Now, gear. How does gear work? So it is similar to Star Rail and ZZZ in the sense that you are not going to be changing what your weapon looks like. Your weapon is going to be changing based on the type of actual classification it can be taken with, right? So, for example, my main character can only take weapons like this. If I equip this weapon on her, I am not getting the full buffs, the full passives, right? Very similar to ZZZ, really nothing complicated here. And it's actually very fun and interesting, at least at the time of this recording. The way that I've been obtaining weapons is I've been going around in the open world, and the best way to compare it to, like, let's say a Genshin player or a WoW player is I've been beating the hologram bosses slash, you know, what do they call it in Natlan? Wanted enemies or something? You know, there is a way that you could actually track down, I guess, like elite mobs, and they have a chance to drop something pretty big. Now, the artifact system. The artifact system quite possibly might be my favorite system at the moment. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think it's very fun. I think it's really cool. And I'll break it down. Right now, it looks like we have a Game Boy Advance. The way the artifact system works is simple. There's 2 layers, right? Let me translate this real quick. So there are the 2 columns. We have the driver block, which are these Tetris blocks, and then we have the cassette, which is going to be down here. Now, the way it works is in order for you to get your 2-piece sets, you need to place 2 cassettes into a character, right? Into an artifact. So this character, the main character, they are light. So there's 2 half crescents that you could buy from the shop. You have to match those crescents to the unit that you're using. So my character, the main character, is a light character. I put these 2 crescents in the light slot right here. These 2. I took it off. And as you see, I only have the 2-piece. So I slot these 2 crescents into here. And bam. It seems in which that you can have a crescent, only 1 crescent, and the Tetris blocks, all of them, and you're able to get a 2-piece activated. But if you want the 4-piece activated, you need the whole shabam. You need the 2 crescents and the Tetris. So you slot the 2 crescents in, and then that is going to give you your Sonata effects. That is how you figure out what you're doing. So this says light-based ability damage increased by 10%, which is I'm a light character, right? And then legend, which is the 4-piece. After the bear releases the polar attack within 15 seconds, the damage caused will ignore 20% of the light resistance. This effect cannot be stacked. So also, you see, you get your 4-piece stats from putting those crescents in the right spot, and then after that, it tells you exactly which Tetris pieces you need to find. Here's where I think the artifact system excels quite a bit, and it's with these substats and how they actually work. So, with every gacha game, there are going to be main stats and substats, right? So, for example, let's use these little discs. My right side disc that I have equipped currently is the main stat is giving me defense. However, as you can see, the level is 0, right? So I have not put any investment into this. All I've simply done is gone to the shop and buy a right disc. Now, it tells you what your 5 substats are. It will tell you automatically each Type 1 driver equipped, the critical hit rate goes up by 0.80. Type 1 driver counts by 2, increased attack power, increased pore strength by 14. You will always know what your substats will be. You do not need to invest. So if you say, okay, maybe I have this defense piece and it's absolute garbage, and you do not need to buy anything more. You don't need to spend your time, your resin, your hard-earned materials. You don't need it. Now, we'll go to another right piece. So this one is not equipped, as you can see. Level 0, right? Level 0, it starts with HP, and then it gives each time a Type 2 driver is equipped, the increased attack power by 1.75%, Type 2 driver count incremented by 2. I think that one is always going to be the same. Health increased by 3%, and increased pore strength by 14. So it seems like they're always telling you what these substats are going to be on this, so that way you do not have to spend resources doing something stupid where it's like, okay, let's say I need an HP piece, but these subs are not falling in. Now you know off rip, okay, this isn't it. It's not worth it unless you want to cope, right? And so that's really nice. It's going to be the same thing with the Tetris blocks, right? So if I pull up the Tetris blocks, it seems at the moment all of these main stats are the same, right? So it shows attack power, HP. I haven't found a Tetris block that these main stats are changing. Some of the values changing depending on the type of Tetris block that you're using, right? But I believe they're all static. So for example, these are 2 of the same piece. They're both 15 and both 204 at level 0. Now, oh great heavens, did I unequip something? I did. I'll look at it later. I messed up. So what happens is again, same thing. You are able to see what your substats are. So your substats will vary. So you will not need to waste time. Now, how do you get the 2-piece and 4-piece Sonata effects? Once again, so you need to include your 2 crescents. This is for 4-piece, your 2 crescents, and the proper Rubik's Cubes, or whatever you want to call this, Tetris blocks. I don't know why I said Rubik's Cube. Put the right Tetris blocks into the spots, and then you will get your full 4-piece set. This, to me, is the most intriguing part of the game, where, A, it is a nice little puzzle. I don't mind. I know people are probably going to hate it, but I find it interesting. And also, it's just the fact that I do not need to worry about not liking a piece. The piece could be hot dog shit, and you know what? I could just scrap it immediately. I don't need to sit there and guess and play a guessing game, unlike Genshin, unlike Wuwa, and it gives it to you straight up. So this is something I hope they do not change. They should keep this exactly the way it is. I like it. I like it, right? So again, if I wanted to go, for example, I'm going to kit this character right now. So use this red symbol, right? So if I use here, I go to the shop. I will show you exactly how to do it in real time. I'll buy a right side. I will buy a left side. And now it is going to, once I equip these, it is going to tell me what Rubik's Cubes, I keep saying Rubik's Cubes, what Tetris Cubes you need. So I go to him, right? We go here, bam, throw this there, and then we throw this there. Okay. So now this is my Sonata. So as you can see, we don't have a 2-piece or a 4-piece yet because this is not giving you the 2-piece actually. You could have 1/2, but you need to have those Tetris blocks. So it says I need this. I'm going to take a screenshot of it because I will never remember. It is what it is. All right, so we're going to go back. I'm going to buy these exact same ones. And so we go here. I buy a 2. I'm going to buy this one, which is needed. I'm going to buy this. Watch me not get the puzzle, and then I'll just rage quit. Bro, it took me like 2 minutes to do it. I was so tight. It was too early in the morning. All right, so you run that. Bam. I go back to the character. So we go in here, and now we start playing around. So we're gonna throw the 2 right over there, and then if I throw this one right here, now I have a 2-piece set. The 2-piece set is going off of the Tetris. Now, throw that there. I have my 4-piece. Very simple. Very, very, very simple. So, artifact system is great. I love it a lot. Now, another thing that I really love about this game is the fact that the talent screen is pretty simple. The talents for all the characters are very, very simplified. I'm going to break this down to you real quick. You have your normal attack, your skill, your burst, your intro skill, and then these 2 little nodes are going to be that extra elemental reaction that you're able and capable to do. Like, let's say, for example, this character is the, the redhead girl. I don't know her name. These are her 2 things that enable her to do more damage in Bloom, right? And so it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing crazy. And then every time you upgrade, these mini things, it's just giving you more stats, attack, defense, HP, whatever the case may be. It's really straightforward. It is really, really straightforward. It's same thing like Genshin, same like Wuwa. Go get your materials, whatever you need, and pretty much just level things up. Eventually, I assume they'll include more reactions because I see that little empty circle there, right? So maybe, they'll either include more reactions for Bloom or for a different one. I don't necessarily know. But overall, talent screen, straightforward. Nothing complicated about this at all. Now, like a lot of the other gacha games, there are roles in each game. So, for example, I'm going to pull this up right now, and I will translate it for you as well. If I go over to the party section, it's a party right here, and I click on a character, they have a little icon next to them, and it's going to give some description. So when you see this little lightning icon, that means that they're a main DPS dealer. I will pull up the screenshot right now. So this is the main character. If we go there, it says attack, it says burst, output, and instant ring closing. Now, the game is super new. I don't know exactly what all of the terminology means as of yet. We're still trying to figure that out. But we can know that, okay, this is going to be a main DPS with some sort of bursty output. Like, they're not going to probably be your main on-field unit, right? Now, if I were to go to, let's say, Mint. Now, Mint has the same thing. It is attack. However, their subsections are breaking down with their criteria. It's different. Very similar to Wuwa, right? So now we go here. This is the screenshot of Mint. Mint says attack, main output. You're probably going to be on fielding with Mint, right? So they are attack unit, but they're more maybe in like the sub DPS. Go in, do something quick, swap out to Mint, use your Bloom, whatever the case may be. That's pretty sick. And then there are other roles, obviously, besides DPS, like this homie. He is a shielder. So if I pull up his screenshot, it's going to tell you survive, right? Survive some sort of support, shielder, and then sustain damage. So some sort of DOT over time. So there are roles, and there is going to be synergy with characters, and characters will synergize more with the other one. And I'll break that down eventually once we figure that out a bit more. But that is the basis of the game. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty fun. I think it's really great. And again, I'm going to go into Artifact Domain one more time. I'm just going to run it. I'll show you everything in action real quick, and let's get it. So we go in. Again, I don't have my full burst. I'm going to hit my E. I'm just going to do normal attacks. Get my burst. Bam. I'm going to burst with her. I do my burst. I'm going to swap off to mint because I'm a mint picker. That is going to activate my Bloom. Bloom is now on the floor. Now Bloom is going to be enhanced due to the fact that I have activated Mint's talents, as well as some other characters' talents for the actual Bloom, reaction. So we just run around. Bam. Now, as you can see, if this homie does not die, I'm going to get his stun bar to to the max. Right? So I'm just trying to... I think he's about to die. Unfortunate. It is what it is. What can you do? I'll get the stun bar on this homie big. So... And we're doing pretty decent damage. Nothing crazy. Like, nothing horrendous, but nothing bad. I do a perfect dodge. Stun bar goes up substantially. Dope. Now, I can swap off to the main character real quick. Get another Bloom reaction going. Etc. Hit that. Bam. I mean, like, it's pretty valid. He's stunned, and he's also dead. And so that is, like, a little showcase of what the combat could be and how fun... And just, it is fast-paced. I really like it quite a bit. So, with that being said, let me know what you think. I'm very happy. I really like the game a lot. And I'm going to be streaming it in probably like 20 minutes after this video drops. I love you. See you in the next one. Mwah. I'm out.